Hi, this is Jim Lange. In the last several videos, we have talked about what we think are the inevitable tax decreases followed by tax increases in our federal tax rates. We also talked about what I deem the coming of the death of the stretch IRA and some of the things that we should do about it. And one of the things was getting Roth IRA conversions right and the accompanying and what I would consider synergistic calculation of getting Social Security right. And then the last couple of videos have been some, let's call it Social Security basics. I'd like to now go into the Social Security spousal benefits. And this is really an important example. All right, so here's something that we should understand. Let's assume that John is the primary wage earner of the family, and his benefit is $2,000. And for discussion's sake, let's even say that he's taking his $2,000 benefit. And his wife, Jane, her benefit based on her work record is $800. Well, and again, we're going to assume that John is collecting his Social Security benefit. What should Jane do? Well, what Jane should do is she should be taking a spousal benefit, which is half of John's. So she gets a $200 increase because half of his is more than hers. So that's going to be, let's say, the first basic thing. And by the way, that did not change with the elimination of apply and suspend. So let's keep going now. The other thing that hasn't changed, the thing that has changed, in order for Jane to get a spousal benefit, John must actually be receiving Social Security. In the old days, John could just apply, let's say at 66, and then suspend, that is not collect. Then his wife was able to apply for a spousal benefit. He was getting 8% raises for every year that he was waiting on his record. She was getting 8% raises for every year that she was waiting. Then at 70, she would compare which one was better, half of his or her own, coupled with the 8% benefit. Now again, that didn't change. But the spousal benefit based on half of the, is still going to be the greater of her benefit or half of his, assuming he is collecting. All right. The other thing that hasn't changed, there is no benefit of holding off after age 70. You'll see consistently I've been talking about having the primary insurance owner or the person with the highest earnings record wait until age 70. I'm still all on board with that, but not holding off after 70. So in addition to the spousal benefits that are available while both spouses are alive, I think I want to go to the more important issue of what happens after one spouse dies, which reinforces my general idea that the person with the strongest earnings record hold off until age 70. All right? So let's assume that the husband's, and I'll be sexist for a moment and assume that the husband's amount is higher than the wife's. Let's assume that the husband has a $2,000 benefit and his wife has a $1,200 benefit. And let's assume that either one of them dies, and for our purposes it doesn't matter. What is the benefit to the survivor? It is the higher of the two. All right? Now let's think about how critical this is. So let's take the two extremes. The husband's benefit is $36,000 a year, and the wife's benefit on her own record is zero, but even as a spousal benefit is, well, let's say half or even less than the husband's. All right, well, in that case, the husband, whether he lives or dies, his benefit of $36,000 will be with him for the rest of his life, and it will be with his wife for the rest of her life. This is really critical. And because the idea for financial planning for the vast majority of couples, married or not, is to make sure that they are both okay for the rest of both of their lives, if we can get an increase for not only the primary earner's record, but also the survivor of the primary earner, then we have a much greater incentive to hold off on Social Security. So let's take another example. Let's assume that you are both, that is husband and wife are both age 62, all right? And earlier I had done some analysis showing that the break-even point or when it makes sense to, let's say, take Social Security earlier would be if you died before age 82. Then I said, well, we don't know, and it's better to bet on you living than you dying. All right, but let's assume that you go to the husband or the primary earner is in really bad shape physically. Maybe they have cancer, maybe they have a heart condition, whatever it is. And let's say that they think that, yes, they'll live till maybe age 70, but probably not beyond. But the other spouse is in pretty good health. So the issue is, well, what to do? Well, it might be natural to say, well, gee, since the primary earner doesn't have all that much long to live, might as well collect that Social Security now. And that way, because we know that he's not going to make it till age 82. And I say, wait. If we hold up on his Social Security, yes, he will not get to enjoy it during his lifetime, but those, well, depending on how old they are, but let's just oversimplify and say 8% raises that his spouse will get from the time, for example, that she is age 70 until the time she dies. Let's say that she lives 20 or 25 years beyond when he lives, that those increases are going to be critical. This is a family issue. And one of the things that, and in fact, I have a book in me talking about how sometimes the wives listen to their husbands and it's not the right thing to do. And one of the very common pieces of advice by their husband is, yes, I want to take Social Security at age 62. And I don't even think that that's in the husband's best interest, but particularly since you women live longer than us guys, it's really against your self-interest for the primary earner to take Social Security early. So this is a critical point. Plan on a good income for both of you during both of your lives, and I think that that will make a substantial difference. And one of the ways to do that is for the primary earner to hold off until age 70 before they're collecting. If you can get some spousal benefits before that, like in the prior video, that's great. But the general rule of thumb is I want that primary earner, the one with a stronger earnings record for Social Security, to hold up until age 70, regardless of his or her health, unless both members of the couple are not in good health and are both expected to die well before age 82. So anyway, that is the critical lesson. And again, more than 90% of the people get this wrong. Primary insurance person with the best working record for the purposes of your Social Security, please hold off until age 70 unless you have some very compelling reasons not to. Thank you.